Welcome to The Leverage Show. Get more from your business and your life. Be sure to share your questions and challenges with me at leverageshow.com so I can answer them for you on future episodes. So today, I want to share with you four things that I wish I knew when I first started my business. Oh, if we could just go back in time. Everything in life you learn and then you think to yourself, geez, if I could only go back and I could redo things, I wouldn't make the same amount of mistakes. And I want to share with you four things that I learned because in my belief, they cost me lots of years of struggle. And if I can help you sort of sidestep that or shortcut it, then that's exactly what I would hope to do. So hopefully the advice will give you a little bit of insight into what you're doing and maybe give you that little bit edge so you don't make the same mistakes. I mean, the fact is, there's no better teacher than experience. As we go through, business, life, whatever it is, raising kids, we find that, a lot of times we make mistakes and then we realize, if I had just done that, I'm not handy at all. And I can tell you that when I'm fixing stuff around the house, I'm usually pretty terrible at it. I mess it up the first time, but then I learn how to do it. I'm like, if I ever have to replace a faucet again, I know how to do it. Even though it took me 3 times longer, I had to buy multiple sets of materials. Probably would have been easier, cheaper, and faster just to get somebody to come and do it. But, that's sort of the way things go. And some lessons we can only learn by experience. But there are some things I think that if we take the advice of mentors or we take the advice of experts who have been there and done that, we can definitely get better at what we're doing. I know, the great analogy for this is sports, because if you have a great coach, they can really help you identify those areas for improvement and fix it really quickly, as opposed to sort of struggling, and then trying to figure it out on your own. Sometimes people with an outside perspective have a little bit easier time seeing what things need to be changed. So anyway, let me jump into these 4 things and hopefully you'll get some value out of this in terms of being able to help you get to where you're going faster. The first lesson that I learned that I really wish I knew a long time ago is that leverage is absolutely vital. There's no accident that the name of this podcast and online show is The Leverage Show. Now, phonetically, it isn't spelled right because I couldn't get that domain, but it still sounds the same way. And the reason for that is because leverage is everything. J. Paul Getty once said, he was a great billionaire from the Getty fortune, and he once said, I'd rather have 1% of the efforts of 100 men than 100% of myself. And it's actually brilliant because the fact of the matter is, no matter how good you are at everything that you do, if you have to do everything, you cap. You maximize what you can achieve at a very low level because there isn't any way you can break beyond that. You're limited to what just one person can do. And even if you're superhuman and you work superhuman hours, you can't grow past a certain point. You can build a profitable business, but you're always going to be chained to it and you're never going to be able to grow beyond that. And that's a big mistake that I made because I was such a perfectionist that I wanted to make sure that everything was done to my standards. And, I felt like I could learn anything. So I'll just learn it and do it, learn it and do it. And I was doing that with everything in my business. And then I realized, I'm making mistakes. The quality isn't as good as I thought it would be. It's taking me longer to get stuff done. And I'm like, but why? I mean, I'm committed. I'm good. It's because it was just too much to do for one person. Leverage is vital, and it doesn't have to be employees or even staff or outsourcers. It could be technology. If you have automated software that does things for you, that's leverage. It saves you manual time. And leverage is absolutely vital. I don't care what business you're in. Find stuff right away that you can start leveraging and use, outsource, or automate as much as you possibly can. It will make a world of difference. It'll also free you up to not only do the important things, but have some free time in your life too. The second thing that I learned, which is a really important lesson too, and it's one that I had a hard time with, is that you don't need all the skills or all the answers. As a business owner, we believe like we're supposed to be the all-knowing Oz, and every answer and every question we can answer it, and we know this and that and how to do this, and if we don't, we can find out faster than anybody else. That's a mistake. That whole mentality is wrong. You go through the process of building your business and you learn along the way. And that is part of what makes a brilliant entrepreneur, is not knowing everything, but being able to assimilate new information and make adjustments based on that. So you may not know everything. Let's say you go into social media. You don't need to have all the answers. But the key is that you start doing it and then you realize, oh, geez, that didn't work or that worked better. So you adjust your approach and you dial it in. You sort of just keep getting closer and closer and closer until you start nailing it. That's what makes a brilliant entrepreneur. Not somebody that's got all the answers, has 800, scholarly degrees, and has studied and studied and studied this, that, and the other thing. And that isn't necessarily the person who's going to be the most successful. A lot of times practitioners struggle because they want to be in the trenches doing the work, and what they need to be doing is building the business. So give yourself a break. You don't need to have all the answers or all the skills. There's such thing as okay with, I don't know. Let's find out. Let's figure it out. Let's get somebody who knows how to do this. You know it needs to be done. Find someone who can do it with better skills than what you've got, instead of trying to learn it all or do it all yourself. And, this is sort of, number 2B here is surround yourself with good people. When you surround yourself with good people and skilled people, they are going to be able to be people you can rely on, particularly if they have complementary skill sets. You don't really need a bunch of people that do exactly what you do. If you're excellent at writing ad copy, you don't need 3 copywriters. What you need is a graphics person. What you need is an ad person. What you need is, a media buying person, a social media person. You write the copy, let them put it in the right spots and do the media buys and all of that stuff and make it look great with the graphics and the images. So surround yourself with good people is sort of part of that, but just keep learning. Know that you're going to keep learning. Making mistakes are okay. You don't need all the answers or the skills. The third thing, and you've probably heard this 100 times, but it's worth repeating, is to follow your passion and not money. The mistake that I see a lot when I'm, coaching or consulting with people is, they're focused on the external marketplace. Where do I see an opportunity to make money? That's what I'm going to go after. But here's the problem. Like anything else, the market will eventually work itself out and it will level out. So if you're chasing money because there's a hot new trend, so is everybody else. But the people that are actually passionate about what they're doing there are going to take it, they're going to bury you. Because the fact is, and I remember this from my days when I was in the staffing industry, it was a job. I was okay with it. I liked it well enough. But I wasn't passionate about it. I didn't love it. I worked with people that jumped out of bed in the morning, couldn't wait to get into the office, and never wanted to leave because all they wanted to do is place people at jobs all the time. And I remember having the conscious thought at the time and thinking to myself, I can't compete with that. Is it because I don't have the skills? Is it because I don't have the ability to communicate or persuade or do? No, it isn't any of that stuff. It's because I don't care that much. They loved it. So if we were head to head, eventually, they were going to be better. I knew I was never going to be excellent. I could make a living at it. That isn't good enough for you. You want to find the thing that drives you, that gets you excited. When you get up in the morning, I can't wait to shoot my episodes every day because I love to connect with people and share stuff with you that I think can really help. That's the reason I started this whole thing in the first place. I took a lot of lumps on the way, and I want to try to help you avoid that kind of stuff. And so Find the thing that you're passionate about. The money will follow. There's a way to monetize everything. If you're into gardening and you think, well, no one's going to buy anything about gardening, teach people how to, make a business about gardening. You know what I mean? Like, give people an organic gardening kit. Make a video training, course online about all these different aspects of gardening. You'd be amazed at what people are willing to spend money on to get the answers that they want. So find a way to spin it so you can actually, make money out of it if you think it's something where there isn't any money. But follow your passion, not money. And then the last thing, and this might be the most important of all, if you've got the other things, is consistency and patience. Oh, I wish I knew this from the beginning. We live in such an instant gratification society that anything that we try that doesn't work almost instantly, we immediately trash it. Well, that's no good. It didn't work. I didn't get instant results. I didn't make a profit on my first time. So let's get rid of that. Consistency and patience. Sometimes you need to be smart and you need to see, is there a trend here? You don't want to just keep beating your head against a brick wall. If what you're doing isn't getting you any results at all, it's time to change your approach. But if it's getting you results and they're incremental, maybe it isn't what you want, but it seems to be improving, stick with it. Stick with it to build a following, to build a brand, to do anything of significance in this life. You have to be willing to sacrifice. You have to be willing to do the work and stick with things longer than most people would. It's how you become successful. This show is a perfect example of that. I shot 30, maybe 60, maybe 90 episodes. I had very few viewers, very few. I didn't do any promotion, but I said, you know what? I believe in what I'm doing. And I know eventually I'll get to a point where I promote it. But the most important thing for me right now is to get content and get it for the people, because the right people will hear it, see it, and say, yeah, he gets it. I want to hear more of what he's got to say. And they're going to subscribe, and they're going to download the episodes, and they're going to do that stuff. I'm not worried about how many millions of downloads I'm getting. That stuff will come if I'm providing real value. And you, by listening or watching this, prove that there's value. Because if you're listening to it and it means something to you, I'm providing value to somebody. And you need to have the same approach. But be patient. I could have given up after a couple of weeks. Oh, it's a lot of work. I got to plan out each episode, then I got to shoot the episode, then I got to render it, then I got to produce it, I got to upload it, I got to publish it and all this other stuff. But you know what? I love it, so it's fine. And I know that if it makes a difference to anybody, then it's worth doing. And so that's the attitude and the consistency and patience you want to have. Give yourself a little bit of breathing room. Just pay attention to the trend. Are people, interested in your stuff? Are the results growing? Are they flatlined, or are they shrinking? As long as they're growing, keep it rolling. Give it time. It may take you a while to get to where you want to go, but you'll get there. So those are 4 pieces of advice that I wish I knew when I was starting out, because I think I would have got to where I'm going a heck of a lot faster. And hopefully it helps you do exactly that. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you have a question, post it at leverageshow.com so I can answer it for you on a future episode. And until next time, make it happen.